Do you believe I could read your mind? I don't know what you think, but I learned how you think. Did you tell him the name you're thinking of?
I didn't tell anybody. Shmuley.
Really?
You son of a gun.
I perform a lot, and they say there's no crowd in the world you can't beat after you perform for Israelis. Because Americans come to enjoy the show, Israelis come to figure it out.
None of your business, Ushy. None of your business, Michael.
It's the None of Your Business podcast, hosted by Michael and Ushy.
Welcome back, everybody, to another magical episode of the None of Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Michael Greenfield. With me, of course, is co-host Ushy Schwartz. And today we have an amazing human being, a mentalist, someone who already knows what this podcast is going to be all about. So I'm not even sure why we're doing it. Michael Samen, everybody. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Well, I know what's going to happen, but they don't. So
we might as well do this.
yes, we just
All right,
do it.
yeah.
We do it for the people.
We're going to pack it in. Of course, we thank all our subscribers, our listeners, the comments. We've been growing. Ushy, every episode is growing more and more and more, and it's directly in theme with who we are and what our podcast is about, and that's growth-oriented, personally and professionally. We're doing something right.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's great. We're learning a lot on the podcast, meeting a lot of cool people, and people are along for the journey. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, we appreciate all of our listeners and subscribers. And this podcast is sponsored by Prime Source. And of course, those of you who know, it's a Prime Source production, the None of Your Business podcast. And if you want to see your nursing home or assisted living facilities costs magically disappear, contact someone in Prime Source and we'll be there for you. You like that?
You're going to run with this magical thing all day, aren't you?
It's magically delicious.
That's the second time already.
Yes, I'm excited. We actually have some people in the audience today that are real big fans and aspiring magicians and mentalists. So it's amazing to see you. And thank you so much for joining us again. We met in Israel. And when we met, you're not aware of this, that you had just done something, you fooled someone that we knew like an hour before. And I was watching the video and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's great. And I'm with my friend Joe and suddenly we see you and we're like, you got to do this all over again. And
Well, I think I'm very aware just because I'm aware to all of these details. I've done it on Rabbi Lawrence.
Rabbi Lawrence, that's right.
There we go.
On his son Moshe Simcha. And then you did it on Joe Sutton, who was with me. And
you'll be surprised how many people I actually remember. I remember faces really, really well. I don't always remember names. But I remember locations where I met them, how, and things like that. So it's like when you say, I met you, I know exactly who I met that day.
Yeah, I'm curious. I have so many questions. And also one of the things I did this time is I asked our audience what questions they would have for you. And we selected the top few questions that they gave us. I did this through Status. I didn't do it through any other social media platform, but I got a lot of responses. Okay. One of the questions that's hitting me right now is, what is the craziest response you ever got from someone that you did a trick on?
Street stuff or stage stuff?
Anything. Tell me anything.
I think there's like the most moving ones and the most enjoyable ones for people to watch on social media.
Yeah, tell me both. I'm curious.
I think the most special one was when I have people cry. It's so deep, so emotional, so like special. Something that relates to, let's say, a dead person they thought of, or something happened because they thought of someone like that, and they literally start crying, and it's like me as the performer, I'm like, oh my God, I just moved someone, and I think that's very, very special as a performer. And then there is, of course, the ones that I just love when people go crazy. They just run away. They're like, oh my God. Some people, like, they curse. It's like the end of the video is like beep, 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 beep. It's like it just doesn't end, and I absolutely love it.
That's great. That's when you know you did a good job.
Yes, for sure.
We have a little segment, by the way, called ChatGPT Says What About You.
All right.
Have you ever done a ChatGPT on yourself?
No, but I don't know if ChatGPT knows me enough, but let's go.
What do you think it's going to say about you? If you had to guess one thing, what would ChatGPT say about you?
I'm not sure. I don't know, because I have it's funny because I know what people would say about me.
You know what I'm thinking, right?
Like a machine would know, you know?
Right? Oh, you know how people work. You don't know how machines work. Okay,
correct.
I like that. So you started doing magic at 10. The age that most kids are discovering sports, you're discovering psychological warfare. That's the first thing that ChatGPT says.
Okay,
about it.
that's
Is
not,
that
not
accurate?
bad. Not bad. I started when I was 9.
9?
Yes.
Okay.
And I started naturally as a mentalist, got into magic as a result, and only after 2-3 years in magic, I was directed back into mentalism. I was told you could do proper mentalism. Why didn't you do that? And that's where I shifted back into proper mentalism.
I'm going to love learning the difference between magic and mentalism and so on.
Definitely.
When you were 9, just real quick, what was your first thing you did? How did this come to you?
So I got into, there's a very simple trick where you put down 4 cards, rows of 4. Then you ask people to choose a card, and then you say, what row is it in? And then you collect them, and you spread them the opposite way, so that way the cards cross, right?
It's by process of elimination. You're
Right, so
able
basically
to-
you know this one, and then you know that one, then you know
Famous
what card it
trick.
is,
Yeah.
right?
Every kid learns it.
And I didn't know that's how it was done in the beginning, and I was able to do that immediately. Just they looked at a card, I was able to look at the room and just at the person thinking of the card, and was able to tell them what card they were thinking of. And only then I learned it was a trick. There was a trick to it, but I was doing it with proper mentalism, just like looking at people. Of course, I wasn't as good as I am today. I developed a lot. I always say it's like being musical. It's like the fact that you're musical doesn't make you Mozart, right? You need to study notes. You have to study rhythm. You have to study many, many things in order to perfect the talent or the ability you already have. It's not just like, oh, one day I get up and I'm able to read people. So it's...
That's pretty cool. So you think you know that you have a natural inclination of reading people, and you knew that as a young age, and then you adapted that and built on your skills.
I didn't know that like 100%. I was like, okay, I assume that's how you do magic. It naturally pulled me into the how do people react to it, how cool it is, and slowly I I got into magic because of it. I didn't know the difference between mentalism and magic. I was like, oh, magic, mentalism. I didn't know what's mentalism.
How would you define, in one sentence, the difference between magic and mentalism?
I would say magic is sleight of hand, making you, let's say, if I do, I do that, right? So many people would naturally look where I look, right? So I'm getting you to look a certain place when something else happens in a totally different place.
Distraction.
Right? And then mentalism, I would say it's more like magic of the brain. So it's how you think, what you think, influencing you to think a certain way. That's in like 2 words.
Okay, perfect. I love that. He doesn't read minds. He just steers into your soul until your childhood secrets volunteer themselves. Wow. So before we started, you did ask Ushy a question, right? And we'll get to that soon.
For sure.
And I'm thinking that you can embarrass people sometimes, I guess, right? Does that happen?
I had situations, yes, that happen on stage where I asked people to... I could cut this out, by the way, if it doesn't fit the podcast. But I asked someone to think of the name of a name their first crush, their first love. It actually happened again, like 2-3 weeks ago, and it happened to be same gender, and it was very tricky how to reveal it or not to reveal it, because when I asked them what's the name you're thinking of, they said a different name. They said it was a woman. She said a male's name. But I for sure saw a female's name. Like I was sure that was the name. So it was very tricky how to reveal it. I said, but you actually thought of a different name as well. That was maybe your second love or something like that. I'll just show you. If it is, agree or don't agree to disagree, like to show the audience. And I showed it to her. He was like completely in shock. I put it down and we kept going.
So no one knows.
No one knows, but it was...
That's unreal.
That is
So
scary
you were
stuff.
so confident that you told her quietly, right, what it was, because it's fascinating.
So usually there's two ways I'll reveal stuff. Sometimes I'll write something down, I'll show it to the audience, and I'll reveal it before they say the answer. So what's the name you're thinking of, for example? And then sometimes I won't show it to the audience, and I'll say, what's the name you're thinking of? And then I'll reveal it only after they say. So it depends also how sure I am or what's the age of the crowd. So for example, when I do Pesach programs or things like that, you have many kids in the audience, and it's very different to the corporate events I do. So when I do a corporate event, I know, and I'll show something, no one is yelling the name. Oh, it's right. But when you deal with kids, suddenly you need to be aware of a kid is going to yell before he says the name. You ruin the...
He might divulge it. Yeah.
Right.
Through
Another question we got asked from one of our audience members is, one of our fans, I should say, is, did you ever really get it wrong and like mess up and you're like, oh my God, like what was that like for you?
Yes. First of all, it happens. It happens not as much nowadays, but I feel that first of all, the excitement of being able to be wrong, it's very exciting. It's like some people get their adrenaline jumping off a cliff. I take the risk of messing up on stage. I think in the beginning I used to be very nervous about being wrong, but slowly you realize that it's much. First of all, I have no problem saying, "Oh, I was wrong," if I was wrong. And the second thing is, if I trying to think, I mean, there is a tricky thing where sometimes magicians do it a lot, mentalists do it as well, where you do as if you have like a mistake and it's a dip, right? And then you basically recover and you get it right. Now it's much stronger than before because you had that dip.
Almost makes it look like it was a part of the act.
So at this point, meaning after years of performing, I learned that the performance is many times about making it look like there's a dip or things like that. And that's much stronger. The effect is much stronger. With that said, you could actually get it wrong, you know,
Yeah.
and you mess
What
up.
happens if somebody like lies to you? Like they're just being very stubborn, and you know that it's probably the name
That's
they
a great
thought,
question, by the way.
and then the person
Yeah.
just says no, that's wrong.
so
Like,
I
how do you
perform-
how do you prove it?
I perform a lot. I performed a lot in Israel, and I still do when I travel a lot back and forth. And they say there's no crowd in the world you can't beat after you performed for Israelis, because they're smart. They're not like smart. They're very direct. They try. The Americans come to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Israelis come to figure it out, which is totally fine. But they come and they try fooling you as well. So
Yeah.
you need to learn how to perform in that way. So it's like, let's say I'll ask someone to think of a name. They think of a name. I'll tell them, okay, usually I won't ask you to write it down or anything, but then I'll ask you to just write it down on a big board. Now they can't change their mind.
Right.
Even if they want to change their mind and say 1, 2, 3, we both turn it over.
Yeah.
So it's ways you figure out how to deal with different crowds.
Love that. ChatGPT doesn't have that much to say, I guess, yet, but there are 2 more things that are interesting. Corporate gigs love you. And that's what it's saying. Nothing bonds executives like publicly being outsmarted by a man in a hat. So tell me about your corporate gigs. Also, another great question that we've gotten, which is, what was your biggest performance ever that you've done so far? And what are you dreaming of? What's that one performance that you're saying, I want to do X, Y, and Z?
So I'll start with the first one. Why corporate events and why people love it? And I do know that I'm doing a good job. Is I love personalizing my show. I really take the time to personalize my show. Even when it's not a corporate event, I do, like, let's say it's a birthday party, I'll make it about the person that having the birthday party. When it's a corporate event, I'll make it about the company. So let's say they have the name of the company, they have certain values the company goes by. Let's say they have I don't know, certain products or certain things. Or when I MC an event, they have certain pieces of information they want to bring up and make them not boring. So that's where I would say I shine, where even other performers, other mentalists, or other magicians aren't able to do it the same way that I do it, because I really make it about the client and it's not about me, it's about them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you asked what's the biggest crowd or what's the biggest stuff. I performed for crowds over 2,000 people. Smallest crowd I ever performed at was I think 4 people.
You got paid? to come
Corporate
to it?
event, yes.
Really?
Corporate event, 4 people. All 4 of them, they landed with a helicopter.
Huh.
They had a dinner with a chef, and I performed. And I didn't even know that I wasn't able to get any information beforehand or anything about who am I performing to. I thought
Where was this?
It was in how do you call it, in Tveria, Tiberias,
Oh, wow.
up north. It was they had like a whole Kivrei Tzadikim type of day, like on their helicopter.
Yeah.
Then they came, they had like a chef and me. It was like a very
Obviously, it's very high-end people.
Yeah.
And they probably wanted to have discretion, so they didn't give you any real information.
Yeah, for sure. But I have many clients like that I can't really talk about, or things like that are more like VIP. You fly into a secret island,
Right.
you perform, you land, you take a boat, you perform.
You've actually done that?
and you do stuff
you've-
like that.
You've landed.
So I've done weird stuff like that.
What's the
yes.
craziest thing? Like you're saying already things that are shocking me. Like what
Right,
do you,
so being able to, I'm trying to think like of a place that I've done. I've done a place in Turkey. I flew into Turkey. That wasn't like a boat or anything, but it was just like a very specific experience. I had an experience actually with a sheikh from Bahrain, where I met in Tel Aviv in Kempinski Hotel, which of course it's owned by their family, their family.
I didn't know that.
So it is.
Yeah, wow.
And then I met him again here in New York, and whatever. There's like certain settings and certain things where it's like, oh, it's me and my wife would love to have like a dinner and performance with you, or stuff like that. It's like really weird situations, and I love it. It's like it makes you really think. Okay, so I have this really weird situation. I'm used to perform in front of like 100 people, 200, 1,000, whatever it is, and then it's like suddenly,
Wow.
It's a weird experience, but I love it.
Do you have a dream of doing a larger audience? Is that something you think about?
It's a tricky one, because I love the small events. I love like 30, 40, 50 people events. And I also love the huge events, but they're very, very different. When you perform on a big stage, you basically, it's a show that you can't expect any
Interactions.
any interaction, right?
Yeah.
You're far away from the audience.
Yeah.
Even though I do run to the audience, I bring people out, I do things with the whole audience, but it's not the same as when you're sitting in a room and someone just next to you is like, no, do this, why that? You know, it's like, it's very different.
Yeah, of course.
It's a,
I'm curious. Another great question we got here, and this is actually, I believe, from Rabbi Lawrence. I don't know if I'm supposed to give away who's asking the question, but I don't think he'll mind. There are two other, I'm going to say other, you're in that group, popular mentalists that are out there right now making some noise, along with you, of course. Lior Suchard and Oz Perlman. What, if anything, is different from you and them, and how are they different from each other and you?
I think they're both much older than me. They're both 43 or 44, 40. I think they're both 43.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not much younger than I look, but I am younger than many times what people assume.
Yeah, you carry yourself a little older than that.
Wow.
It's a compliment. It's a
Yeah.
maturity.
I know, it's,
Yeah.
Israelis, they
Yeah, like very experienced, with a lot of stature. Like,
Yeah.
happens, and you start doing it.
Yeah.
You start traveling and doing what I do. But what I would say would be the big difference, probably. I wouldn't say they're old-fashioned. They're amazing, and I love their work, and I know them personally. I know Lior more than Oz personally. I think each one has their style as well. I don't think I'm either of them. I think I'm a combination of both. I have like a little bit of each one, and there's depth even to how and what we do. So I see a difference in how we perform and what we do. But I would say I love social media, and it's another part. I know that if I wouldn't be doing what I do, I would still do social media. And I found that for me, a connection with live people is the like most fascinating thing and fun thing that I could do to myself. Of course, it does publicity and you grow and whatever, but I really found that at some point I started performing, and you find yourself performing on stages every other night or whatever, and you don't have the same interactions you used to have in the beginning, where it's as pure as it gets. And at some point, I spoke to my team, and one of them said, "Why don't you just do this street stuff again and whatever?" I said, "Sure, I would love to. Let's do it." And we made it happen. And since then, I've been like really like I love doing it because of the connection. You really connect to people on the street. You go out, you do it. Do you believe I could read your mind? My famous line. People will come up to me on the street. Do you believe I could read your mind? And I'm like, yes. I made sure that it stuck, and the connection. You really connect with so many different people. If you go on my Instagram, you just scroll. Every single video could be like Jewish, non-Jewish, white, black, from every culture. It's absolutely amazing to experience.
I'm really happy for you. This is a great life to live, connecting with people every day. I mean, if you mentioned a minute ago you love social media, so I'm assuming that would mean that if you weren't doing this, you'd be doing something in marketing.
I used to do real estate.
Oh.
Before I even done Mentalism full time. I used to do it. Basically, I do Mentalism since I'm a kid, but I used to do real estate in Israel. And I went to study business, specializing in real estate and construction. So basically, that was my path. That was what I was doing. I dealt with construction. And then at some point, basically COVID time, that was a blessing for me. And everyone was stuck at home, started posting things on social media randomly. Then things started exploding. Had many, many requests for like Zoom shows and things like that. And I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try. And things are different since then.
Let's go down that road of your past, because, you know, now that we know how old you are, I see you have a ring on your finger. So you're married?
I am.
Beautiful.
What's your relationship like? How do you live with someone who pretty much knows what you're thinking? How do you keep secrets? How do you navigate that?
I mean, how does she keep secrets?
How does she keep secrets? Exactly. That's what I meant. Sorry. I just like, it's got to be annoying that someone always has all the answers and always knows everything.
I've heard this before, by the way. People marry like therapists, like, oh, don't over therapy me.
Right.
You know? This must be 10 times crazier. Like
I'm not your patient. I'm your wife.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's the best for her. I just sit on the couch. She's like, wash the dishes, and I'm like, no, I don't. It would be great. No, but she's first of all, my wife, she's amazing. She does so much with me and for me. We travel a lot together, and I don't think she expected to do this journey with me. We did have a kid 8 months ago.
Oh,
so we many things shifted. Now I'm based here in the US. I live in the city.
I want to do a little mentalist on you right now.
Go for it.
I'm going to guess if it was a boy or a girl because you didn't mention it. You didn't say anything, but I'm going to do, based on what you said and like in your body language, you had a girl.
I did not. It was a 50-50. It was a 50-50.
Stick to your day job. Please.
You know why I said that? You know why I said it was a girl?
Why did you say that?
My guess was most time people have a boy, they say, oh, I recently had a boy. And when they have a girl, it's I recently had a kid. It's strange.
Right.
So it happens a lot that way. People say they had a kid, and it's typically a girl.
Right, so one of the things you need to be aware of that is, first of all, I'm originally from Israel, so my first language is, I did speak English at home as a first language, but I grew up in an Israeli culture. And mentalism in general, you need to remember, it's a lot. I don't know what you think, but I learned how you think. So how you'll respond to certain things, how you'll do certain things. And the funny thing about it is that different cultures have different gestures for different things. For example, this means thumbs up. Yes, okay, right? You'll go, Iran, this is bad. It's no-go, right? Or, I don't know, for example, personal space, right? Personal space in here, people have lots of space when they talk to each other. Different cultures are much closer. Then you'll have other things. Let's say smiling. Smiling is a good thing. Russia, it's not a good thing. It means much more intimate, right? Or handshakes. So much to do with handshakes. How, what does it mean? Or let's say in like people really judge how strong you
a give firm handshake.
Do you do both
handshake.
hands? Do you put your hand on the elbow? How do people react? So Americans, they give a proper handshake, right? In Arab cultures, many times it means like, I want to be in more like power or stuff like that. So you need to be very careful not to go for your like very firm handshake, and to be aware that body language also changes with different cultures. So in one culture, let's say staring at someone, like we feel many times it's like, I'm honest and I speak the truth because I'm staring at you and whatever. But then you go to Asian countries and staring at someone means rude or disrespectful to certain things. So many things that change in different cultures. You go to perform in a different country, things could be totally different, and you have to be aware of it if you don't want to.
So you have to study all this. You have to learn all the different things.
I was going to say, I'd love to learn more. Give me some more of that. I mean, these are great examples. I mean,
for sure.
It's good to know. I'm saying like,
Good to know.
You
good
want
to
to
know.
apply to become a mentalist soon? You
No, I
want
just
all
want to
his
know.
tricks?
I just
He
want to know if I
doesn't wanna
visit
divulge to
Russia.
everybody what he does.
But it definitely helps in business. I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
helping in business with like learning a lot about mirroring and things, how people react or how to behave, when to make the sale or what to do. I had a few companies that when I was brought in to perform, they said, we want you to perform, but would you be able to help us with like the marketing team or explain to the marketing more things about like how to answer, what to say, how not to say, how to behave.
Can you tell us something? I'd love to hear what you.
So I find one thing that I love, and it's much easier to understand as an example. So for example, we all say, oh, so if someone's doing this, it means they're close and whatever. So it is true many times. You need to be aware also of the
Say
weather.
if their
how
arms are
cold it is,
folded,
right?
if their
They're
arms are
like-
folded,
if
yeah.
they're closed or they're like they cover themselves or
Yeah.
whatever. But let's say you sit in a meeting or like in an interview, and then the person across is closed. But as the conversation goes along, they do open themselves like to the conversation, and then you realize that they're still closed, like they're because they're not gonna like suddenly move, right? They're shy or whatever. And the way you'll react with your body makes a difference on how you'll receive things or respond, right? So let's say they say before walking up on stage, many times just stand in a what do you call a Superman position. It makes you naturally. It convinces your brain to think that you're like you how do you call it? You have lots of space in the room. You're much more confident, and then it helps with the with your presentation. So you want to do that in business as well. So for example, let's say if you do that, right? If you close yourself for a second, then I have, let's say, a conversation with you about something personal in order for you to open and want to share something personal. And there's crazy statistics about it. Let's say a waiter that would come to a table and would present himself with his own name, right? His name, or give a personal piece of information. He'll get tipped like 80% more, like 80% of the times he'll get tipped more than than someone that just comes over and takes your order or does that when you volunteer information, right? So it's really important. So, well, I'll tell someone, I don't know. So, hey, my name is Michael. Yes. Oh, I'm actually from there, or voluntarily, right? And then I'll crack some jokes or whatever. We'll have fun in the conversation, but I still see they're like naturally their body's closed. I say, do you mind just passing me that pen for a second? And then I'll stay in a open position, and then when they come back, they'll mirror me. So it's like mirroring is really, really important. So there's many tricks like that you could use in business and do. I don't really do that so much in going and teach businesses that, but it's definitely something I think every person should definitely learn more about body language and how to have human interactions. There's very simple things that you could do that would change your entire life and
It's
interactions.
almost like a chaplain, Michael. I feel very similar talk. Remember that guy that was
Yes,
here?
yes.
And he's, very astute and very aware of people's body language and trying to maneuver a situation to stabilize it, and he's reading people's temperature and he's reading, and he's trying to see how to approach it next. Am I to understand that mentalism has got nothing to do with magic, right? This is all real, right? None of this is an illusion. None of this is a sleight of hand. It's really an art form where you're developing the skill over time in how the human brain typically works, and you're applying a lot of that logic to come up with the answers, right? And ultimately, the craft of doing mentalism is something that people can learn over time, right? It's something that you can teach someone else to do. They may not be very good at it, and there's going to be different levels. But this is really just like a trait that you can teach, almost like a detective. Like no one wakes up one morning and they become a very good detective. Over time, you have experiences and you learn different things to look out for, right? Am I right?
Yeah. So there is like a bit of a difference. There is the natural part where you feel naturally. Oh, I feel like a certain urge that something. Many times when you walk into a room or whatever, and you see someone and they're sad or happy. You'll naturally be able to say, oh, they're happy or they're sad, right? And you won't necessarily know to explain what you're seeing, but you just know, right? And I feel that I know to explain it. Like I know what are the tells that I'm looking for and whatever. So it's a lot about. So first of all, I do combine magic in what I do once in a while, and I do that because in the end of the story, I chose the route of performing. So it's not like I could have gone to, I don't know, sit in meetings, watching people, and I had that many times offered to just like, why don't you come and sit with me in the meeting, watch the other side, have like any like insight about the meeting. Would they go lower, higher by with their price? And I would say that I never wanted to go to that direction because things could go really dark and weird. And I always try being on the positive thing. So I always say I'm on the positive side of things. And so it's like making people happy and laughing and performing. So as a performer, I would combine anything and everything I could in order to make my performance the best. So I would combine magic if I need to, or if I need to get out of a situation, by the way, what we spoke about. If I do mess up or something, many times I'll do a trick where I could switch something to make it look natural, but I'll actually use a trick. And is it something that everyone could actually learn and become? I think everyone could improve an ability to read people more, like more of their body language, more of their expression, more stuff like that. But I would say that it took me like years and years and years to like perfect what I do.
Yeah, I don't mean to diminish.
No.
Other people could probably do it.
I don't
also
feel it's like it's diminishing. I just
what's
say
like the go-to
process.
move for a mentalist? I know like they can try to guess the name that you're thinking. They could try to guess the number that you're thinking.
Right.
They may even, they'll get you to say something, and that, like, what's the versatility of this? Like, is it the same 5-6 things that you can do over and over and that's your show? Or can you keep adding new creative things
So first of all, my show has maybe once or twice that I guess names. I don't usually, like I do guess names throughout and I just do it randomly, but my show is completely different than what you see on social media. Because I realized that when I start performing more and more, posting more and more on social media, I realized that other people take your routines, take your content. And I see even famous people do that. And I realized that, what do I care? I'll stick to my few things that I do post. And then when you come to my show is completely different and it's a few levels up, but it stays mine. And that's the experience you get that isn't the social media experience. It's the experience you get in my show. And you asked something just before that.
Do you keep adding new things? Like,
I keep adding
how do you
new
come
things?
up with new material?
So like I said, I specifically, I because I personalize my show for clients and things like that, I'm always thinking about how do I do something? Oh, there's a cup. What could I do with a cup? What could I do with that? What could I do with this?
Right.
There's always like a constant thing. Let's say for guessing names and things like that. So if I tell you, go back in time, go to your childhood, maybe first grade, second grade, third grade, and think of a person, right? So when I say that to an audience, so some people already have it, right? Some people are thinking about it that second, or you could think of someone as well. But now, just that it's fair, did you tell him the name you're thinking of?
I didn't tell anybody.
Okay. Is there a way I could possibly know? Did you tell me the name?
No, just to be clear for everybody that's watching this, you asked me before we started the podcast.
I told you because you're going to sit there. I want you to think of
a name
any person.
Yes.
Now you thought of a name.
Yes.
Could you think, let's say, of the amount of letters in the name, but don't say it out loud. Just think of the name. Don't do it with your fingers. Otherwise, it's not. You can do it behind your back. You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thinking of a longer name, about 6 letters, I would say.
Should I answer?
Yes, just to see that I'm even.
Tell you how many letters?
If I'm right,
It's close.
Okay. I would go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Is there a U in the name?
There is.
There is, okay. Now you, before thinking of that person, you said maybe I'll think of someone else.
I did.
And then you change your mind.
I did.
And then you locked in on that person, right?
Yes.
That's why many times I'll tell people, think of someone, because it takes a really long time to think of someone.
Yeah.
So you have someone. I'm going to go like this: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, IJKLMNOPQRSTUVWXYZ. You're thinking of a male, is that right?
Yes.
Right. Now,
He's in love with a male. I'm kidding.
no, it's not his first love. I told him to think of someone from his.
He
from
said
his,
a friend.
a friend from
I'm
childhood.
messing.
Let's say, I'm. Said you did think of someone beforehand, right?
Yes, I thought of someone for like a few seconds, then I changed it to someone else.
I don't know.
Because he said you shouldn't think of something so common.
But I wasn't sure if the other person was really third grade, so that's why like,
I don't know. It might be totally off, but I'm just trying my best. What's the name you're thinking of?
Which one, the first one or the second one?
No, the first you actually decide to go with.
The one I tried to go with?
Yes.
Or Shmuley?
Really?
Ah, you son of a gun.
Now, by the way, you were wrong because is this how you spell it?
Yes.
Because it's 6 letters.
Oh, it is 6?
It is 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 5. I thought it was 5.
That's the.
I counted
that's,
5 in my head. That's why I
that's
used my
totally
fingers.
fine.
You
No,
didn't
but
let
that's
me.
why. That's the risk I'm taking. So, for example, when you said no, I'm like, no, but I'm seeing 6 letters. Should I go for the 6 letters, or should I try again and go for a different name? You see, I'm like live.
So I
taking a
misled
risk.
you. I made it harder for you.
Yes, and it's a
Do
risk.
you know the name of the first person that I was thinking of?
No, that's for the next podcast.
That's the next one.
For the next podcast.
Walk me through this. Like, how does this happen? Like, how is this possible?
So,
Because there's obviously hundreds and hundreds of names, and there's many names that have 6 letters. And what did I do? What did I say? Like, how did you pick up on the cues to come up with this result? How
right.
is this even possible?
So I'm fishing for information similar to when I tell you to count the numbers of letters or things like that. I see, oh, you just had a pause. You just thought, is it 5? Is it 6? But I do know it is in the range of like 5 or 6.
How did you know
letters,
it was in the range of 5
right?
or 6?
Because the time it takes you. Someone that thinks of 3 letters, for example, if I have objects on the table, let's say I have 3 and 2, right? Your brain could, let's say 5 objects, my brain could combine 3 and 2. It's like, oh, 3 and 2, 5. Or 2 and 2, 4. Or I just see 3. But once you go over 5, there's, let's say, 5 or 6, now you start thinking. That's like I have 6, it's like, wait. Oh, it's 3 and 3, or it's just the whole thing. It depends. Also, different people would think differently. But let's say with something like that, that's like, I see how long it takes to, let's say you said, if you would have said yes, I would say, okay, you're thinking of a 3-letter name. I know it's a short one.
Okay.
That's where I'm going for next. And then when I say the alphabet, I'm
By the way, that
looking.
narrows it down to still a lot of names.
Yeah,
as an
for
option.
sure. And there's like so many names,
Yes.
right? Michael, I'm 7 letters, right? And then there's like certain letters that I'm able to see. I could sense a certain letter when I say the
You
alphabet and things
immediately
like
threw
that.
out, is there a letter U in there? What led you to
Right.
ask me that?
There's
How did
certain
you know?
things you'll gesture with certain names that I'll be able to do, right? To like certain letters would bounce out much more than other letters.
Okay.
And things like that I'll be able to work with. And then, for example, I do a lot of things with memory. You know, I didn't plan on doing this. Let's do it for fun. I'm just at a challenge. Do you have your phone on you?
I do.
So do you use ChatGPT a lot?
Of course.
We all use ChatGPT. We ask it questions, right? You asked me some questions in the beginning.
Yes.
Just for fun, I'll give you an example to things I work and try, meaning the things I practice and I try learning more and more in order to be able to perfect my skill. So for example, I don't know, ask ChatGPT. Now it's your ChatGPT. It's not mine. We can't possibly know what it is it's going to answer, right?
Right.
Could you ask ChatGPT to give you, let's say, 15 random objects?
Okay. Give me 15 random objects. All right.
Does it have 15 random objects?
A rubber duck with trust issues, a slightly bent paperclip.
Okay, so it gives you the an object and a little bit more about it.
Exactly.
So let's narrow it down. Ask him to not give you like
Just object.
just an object.
Yeah.
It's using my
Your previous
it's
behavior.
how I behave.
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
I always ask it to give me more. Just the object, please. Sure. Okay. So 15 objects, just the object. We have paperclip, notebook, flashlight.
Okay, so before you even say,
Yep.
so just that it's fair. Could you see anything in my ear? Don't have an earpiece. I don't have anything. No one's telling me anything. There's no like meta glasses or anything. I'm not.
Pick up your hat. Let's check on the
Yes, definitely. By the way, I'm not bald.
Oh,
I'm not bald. I
wow.
have like
Most
hair.
people that wear hats, you typically are hiding something.
I know, but I'm not. I'm just.
Good for you.
But by the way, my hat says, "What's on your mind?" You can
Love
see
it.
there.
Oh.
Love it.
And I didn't ask them to put this in. I bought it like this.
Oh.
And a few months in, I was like,
Oh, that's cool.
what's on your mind? That's really, really cool.
No
so I
way.
guess on my
That
mind,
is
there's
your
a hat.
essence, literally.
You know?
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do is just a little practice so people at home can do it as well.
Sure.
Let's say they're going to say objects one at a time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, okay, you're going to say the next one, you're going to say the next one. And then I'm going to try just saying them back to you in the same order, for
Wow.
example. All right. So
Of this list?
this list, why not? Random list.
Okay.
Have you done this before?
Not of this list.
I'll tell
No,
you more
this
about
list.
it in a second. No, any list. It's
Sure.
his phone. It's
Okay,
his
so what
do you want me to
personality,
do?
Right? You're gonna say them one by one,
Sure.
and I'm gonna say next. You're gonna say the next one, right?
Okay, paperclip.
Okay.
Notebook.
Okay.
Flashlight.
Yes.
Bottle cap.
Okay.
Key.
1 second. 1 second. We had a. Okay, we had a bottle cap, but then we had a key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had a key.
Tennis ball.
Okay.
Pen.
Yes.
Coffee mug.
Okay.
Sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
Envelope.
Okay.
Charger.
Yes.
Wallet.
Okay.
Candle.
Okay.
Pocket knife.
Okay.
Stapler.
Okay. Is that 15?
Yep.
There's no way.
Okay. Now, this is pure as it gets, just memory. I'm going to try. I might get stuck and I'll need to do it. Sometimes I'm not as... Okay. So we started with a paper clip. We had a book. We had a flashlight. We had a cap, right? We had a key. We had a tennis ball. We had a pen. We had a coffee mug. We had sunglasses. We had an envelope. We had a charger. We had a wallet. Are there any more? Yes. We had a pocket knife.
Skipped one.
What was the one beforehand?
Candle.
A candle. Okay. Had a pocket knife. We had a stapler, maybe.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. All right.
Wow, 14 for 15. That's pretty
Yes.
damn good.
And technically, I could do it the opposite. So we have a stapler, we have a pocket knife, we
those
have a
one
candle, we have a wallet, we have an envelope, we have a
charger.
A charger. We have an envelope. We'll have a second. We had an envelope. Remind me there.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses. We had a coffee mug. We had a pen. We had a tennis ball. We had a tennis ball. We had a key. We had a cap. We had a flashlight. We had a book. We had a paperclip.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's a skill that you've worked on your
Yes.
whole life to learn how to. We have a game at home we like to call Mayor Schneider, where you go around the room and everybody picks a character, and one person has to remember all the people. And it's always fun for the one person to go around and remember all the names of people said. Could you come over and play Mayor Schneider with us? Because that would be fun.
Definitely.
I mean, that is very, very cool. The fact
Is
that
that something you learned how to do, or is you have photographic memory?
So I grew up, by the way, this is something, and I really want every kid in the world to know. If I could help someone with that, I would love to.
we have a couple in our audience today, so they're listening.
In general, so I'll tell you, I as a kid, I wasn't great at studying because I didn't know how to study. I think every kid and anyone and every kid could learn how to study, and if you study how to study, it would really, really help you. And I think in school we don't learn how to study, and there's also nowadays there's so many distractions. Right, our brain is not used to memorizing. You scroll on social media, three videos down, you don't remember the first one you watched. Right, like what did I just watch? And you realize that your brain learns how not to remember things. I could promise you, as kids, you tell me if it's true. You grew up as kids. You probably knew, let's say, 10 or 15 phone numbers. your parents,
Yes.
your siblings, maybe some friends you used to go to, their moms or random things. It's natural training. Nowadays, you don't remember any of them. It's something that we don't remember. And I met a friend that he told me, listen, you just need to start saying, I do remember, and it matters. Meaning if you say, I remember, and start thinking about, if once you say, I don't remember anything, I can't, that used to be me. I just don't remember things. And you naturally give your brain the okay not to remember things. Then I started, when he told me, he said, start saying, I have a great memory. You don't have to go public about it, but you say, I have a great memory. Yes, of course I'll remember this, of course. And you train your brain to actually remember things. I could probably do a list like that. I could probably say 100 objects as well. And just learning how to remember things. There's like many books and many things about memory games and things like that. And it's very different, let's say, numbers to names or phone numbers or things like that. So me with this ability of like memory and things like that, I could naturally, when I'm bringing it back to Shmuley, it's like I have certain things I could naturally, like I remember, oh, that means this, that means that. Like many different gestures that help me with working a crowd and working different types of people. Let's say when I work with crowds, there is, I would say 70% is about who I pick to what thing, right? So I love before starting my show, many times you'll see me come into the room, many times I'll take my hat off, just that no one knows I'm even there. Just stand in the room and I watch the crowd. I watch the people come in, I watch the people sit. How do they sit? How do they interact? Would it be a person that goes like crazy, or is a person that's, I'm gonna say Shmuley, and he's gonna be like, oh wow, right? You need a crowd. Because it's happening in their brain, you want to see who's gonna work with you and what type of response you'll get.
Yeah.
So suddenly when you start performing, you realize that a lot of it is about who you pick and how you do things rather than what you do.
Yeah, that makes sense. You gotta get somebody that's gonna.
So your message for kids, I'm just repeating this again, is when you're studying, you're saying to repeat to yourself, I have good memory. I will remember everything I'm studying.
Yes,
like literally
just
to
to
verbalize.
believe you really remember. Like I have great memory, and I'll be able to remember.
It's a great tip if it works. I mean, it sounds like a good idea. My 7th grade teacher, Mr. Ostrov, used to tell us, use the same pen. And studies show if you use the same pen, it'll help you memorize what you're doing. So,
interesting.
But because he said it, I made sure not to use the same
I
But you
pen.
still
don't know
remember
if
his
I'm hearing that
name.
from him, Michael. It's not so much like the tip of telling yourself, and that's like a way to remember. It's more about giving yourself confidence.
Yeah, confidence.
It's more
And I
about
think
talking to yourself and willing yourself that you're able to overcome, and that'll will you to actually be able to get it done. Versus
sure.
being your own cynic
Right.
and telling your brain that you're not going to get it together anyway, and that's just how it reacts, and that's what it knows. That's what you're training it to do.
So, and I think it translates to many different areas. I used to do martial arts for about 12 years. I used to do martial arts for a really long time. And one thing that also one of my teachers taught me, he said, when you watch your opponent, you want to watch their face more than you watch their hands and legs, right? Once you see their leg, it's too late. If you'll watch their face, you could see much more like what they're about to do according to how they'll react. And it's something also just training certain memory, like muscles and knowing how to, they call it, how do you call it? Muscle memory, where you just naturally know what to do. It's like, it's too fast to think. You just know naturally what to do.
So what belt did you get up to, by the way?
I was black.
You were black?
Black. It translates to black in
Israel.
In the normal martial arts things.
I was gonna say in Israel it's yellow. Here it's black.
So I used to do capoeira. It's a Brazilian martial arts, but it's not an official martial art that goes into the Olympics, for example, because there's too many like groups. They never managed to create one group of that martial arts in order to have like a proper like whatever. So what I wanted to say is that I used to train kids. I used to train kids and adults. And one of the things I really believe in is that a kid needs to, like the confidence he just has by knowing he could do something, makes them able to do it. I used to have kids, I used to tell them, okay, do this, do that. They're like, oh, I can't. And then they shut it down and like they actually can't because they say I can't. But when you train your brain into like okay, I break it into many steps, and many times by teaching, I could teach something without even telling you what's the end goal, right? So it's like, just do this. Amazing. Could you do that? Yes. Now do this and then do that. And then do this and do that and then do that. Meaning they slowly build something and they're like, oh, I just did that.
They're surprising themselves.
Right.
They don't even realize what's happening.
It's just like learning how to break the process for them, whatever. But we went into a totally different area. But those are things that helped me a lot with what I do and how I do.
Yeah. Let me ask something. Do you have like an off button? Like for me and Michael, we come to the office and we work 9 to 5, right? 5 o'clock, we go home and we do whatever we're doing. That's it, right? You're like working all the time because your whole persona is you. Like this is your core being. You're a performer. Like if you go on the streets, you'll pull somebody over and you'll perform. Like when are you, like how do you balance that of being you as a private person, as an individual person versus you the performer?
I think also I want to add to that what you're asking, just to clarify, because we're not 9 to 5 people. But what you're saying
you
is,
get my
and I want to clarify that because a celebrity walks down the street and gets stopped. I can take a picture with you. You're not only a celebrity, which people know you a lot, but you're also a performer.
Right.
So they ask you on the
expect you
side,
to do
can I
something.
take a selfie? Exactly. Oh, can you also do something for me? No one's asking me to
Show me a trick. Show me a trick.
No one's asking us to analyze.
Guess my age. I don't know, something
No
like
one's
that.
asking us to analyze their expenses at 12 o'clock at night, at a wedding. But by him, it's like, oh, do a trick, do a thing. It's a great question. Yeah.
I happen to think I explained it fine, my question. I'm not so sure what he added
You
there.
diminished yourself. You said 9 to 5 is when you think of work.
No, but I think I understood what I meant by that. No,
Yeah,
one took literally
I
9 to
think
5.
he cared about the 9 to 5 thing. We don't work
wants people
9 to
to know
5.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
We
exactly.
don't want people to know the 9 to 5.
Remind yourselves exactly. Thank you for picking up on the nuances. You should be our therapist, by the way. You should come more often.
Well, it feels nice.
Is that a third thing
Welcome
you
to
do? You're a mentalist, you do karate.
Martial arts, real estate.
What about therapy?
I do things. I as a kid I grew up with no screens, and my parents really cared for my hobbies. Like I learned piano, I play the drums, I play
so you're
saxophone.
musical.
Like there's like many areas, and I find that with no screen, you're just okay. So what do? You find yourself playing with kids. You play with things. You do things. It's. I think I would never have read that many books like I did if I would have a screen or watch movies or TVs or TV. And I think that I don't know. It's just like lots of time that you learn how to. If we don't have I find myself nowadays. I sit on a flight and I'm like, oh, I don't have my phone. It's like, oh wow, what do I do now? And you have 12 hours, and it's not Shabbos. It's like just a random day of the week, and it's like, oh my God, what did I do? You try reading on the flight, and it's like I can't read as much as I used to. I can't focus on reading that much, right? Or I can't. It's like we're used to not being. We train ourselves not to be able to do that, and I think that learning how to disconnect, which I'm also very bad at. Like it's not that I come and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, just turn your phone off, do that. I believe that every time I do need to think about like my next show or next thing I do or practice, I'm like, okay, I have to put my phone aside. Otherwise I could never get this done. Just like put it aside and I'm like, and I'll write. I'll use pen and paper in order to put my ideas out there and things like that. And that really helps. To answer your question, basically I would say I'm much more private than it seems online. Like I don't do lifestyle, so it's very different. Lifestyle influencers, they'll talk about everything. They'll talk about their kids, they'll talk about their clothing, they'll talk about everything. I use social media in order to help me with what I do, and because social media technically for me is like, okay, how would people see a certain video? How will they'll meaning has to be short, it has to be long. This one you want them to meaning there's psychology behind that as well. So I'm like fascinated by the way people watch because that's where everyone is. So I'm not as public about everything in my life, and sometimes I'm like, technically people don't really know me. They know what I do. They know it's a funny line, and it's always weird when people come up to you on the street and they're like, "Hey, Michael, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "Wait, who is this person? I have to place
know
them."
him?
Yes, I met them there, but yes. Or if I don't know them, I'm like, okay, wait a second. I don't know where I know them from, but then they came up to me as if they know me and I know them. I'm like, okay, how do I manage this situation without being like stupid because I saw them last night in an event, right?
Right.
It's like, how do you deal with it? So first of all, just being very nice. Like you're just always nice and you're just hopefully polite. But I think that for me, it's not hard when people come up to me and they're like, we know you, would you do something? I learned to be very straightforward. If it's not right for me, I'll say no. Like, okay, sure, I'll take a selfie, whatever, but I'm not gonna just
Do a trick for you.
stop and do.
I'm not a lapdog.
Not even many times I would, meaning I would do it, but I'll really pay attention to my surroundings, because I learned that the like, as much as I enjoy, basically I put lots of work into being where I am today, and now it's a reward when people come say hi, but then at the same time I'm like, wait, my wife is here, my kid is here, my just siblings, whatever, and now I made everyone stop and wait.
Right, it's uncomfortable.
For me, and it's not right. So slowly I learned when to stop and when to say, yes, sure, let's take a picture and keep going, or things like that. But I'm not, like, I find it very, like, I love it. Like, I love when people, I always say it on my Instagram, it's like, if you see me, come say hi. I love it. I really appreciate it. And I think it's like, I feel like a pat on my shoulder saying, yes, someone recognized me, and they
You're very
know
passionate
me.
about this. You enjoy this. This is fun for you. It's a sport for you. This is not just a job. It's not just a persona that you're putting out there.
100%.
This is what you are. This is what you want to be known for. I'm a big, huge fan of like these variety shows, like America's Got Talent, for example. I've watched, I don't know, almost every single episode. At some point, I've watched a highlight of all the different acts. And you have all kinds of acts that come on there. You have singers, you have dancers, and you have people, acrobatics and all crazy things. And it's really shocking to see how many talented people there are out there. It's really fascinating. There's just so many cool things that people can do. And I'm like always like a lame duck. I'm like, I can't do any of this stuff. It's pretty wild. But from time to time, you see mentalists that come on there. And you see illusionists, and you see like magicians. And sometimes the magicians, by the way, like their performances, it's more than just the magic. The way they incorporate it into like dance as well. And they also like, they synchronize it with like the music and the lighting. And it just like, there's a lot of flair to it. It becomes very dramatic. But the mentalists specifically always stand out because it's more talking, and they're engaging the judges, they're engaging the crowd. And I've seen some of these like wild things, and sometimes there's got to be more to it. There's got to be a trick. This can't be real. It doesn't make sense. Like they're psychic. It's like they have a crystal ball. Like, there's nobody in the world that's like that. Who in your mind is like just amazing, the best? Like you're in awe of them because you would appreciate it more than anyone else because you know the art forms. So you could recognize the good from the amazing, from the extraordinary. So in your mind, like who's a must-see? Like who's a generational talent in the mentalist game? This is it. This is your idol, so to speak.
I think I take a lot of how do you call it, like inspiration from many other artists and performers. Meaning, let's say there's Bruno Mars. I love Bruno Mars because Bruno Mars, he has his music. Some people love his music, some people don't. But I think that, let's say,
Who doesn't like his music?
some people don't.
Get him out. Get him out. How do you not like Bruno Mars'
Get
music?
him
We love Bruno Mars.
What does that mean?
But I find, let's say, Bruno Mars, he's an amazing performer. Lighting wise, dancing wise,
everything.
like everything, every single thing is thought out.
Full package.
And I've heard him speak in the past saying he doesn't give anyone the control to do the things that he really cares about. Now, in general, that's not my way of thinking. I think the more, if you're the smartest person in your business is not, it's not the best business that could be out there, because there's other people that are better than you in other areas that would be much better and helpful to do what you can't do. But I think there's some exceptions. So Bruno Mars, for example, he does his choreography, like his dancing moves, the lightings, the sound. He really cares for every single piece in what he does. And I think he's an inspire, I'm inspired by him with many of those elements.
Really?
And I think also that happens. It's funny because when I go to watch a show, when I go watch, let's say, a Broadway show or just I watch whatever, I'm always thinking about everything else except for the performance. Like I watch the performance, but I'm like, oh, the lights just turned on now. And this happened here and that happened there. And you suddenly, when you perform, you realize more and more it's like, oh, what's the feeling now? Boom, the lights are this color. Now it means more like serious. Then it's like bright and nice, and the music is exactly the right thing where it makes you feel a certain thing. If I want to make you, let's say, feel something, before I even get into that part of my act, I have this thing where I don't do it that often, where I'll use, let's say, a Russian roulette type of thing. But so many people do it with like breaking someone's object or things like that. I used to love doing it with like danger. So like staple guns, stapling like to my head or someone's hand or things like that. I don't do that anymore. But if you have the right music before you start that piece, it's very dramatic. It's very like certain lights and it makes the feeling of the effect so much bigger than just, okay, so let's do this cool thing, and this is like, let's take you could be like that, but I care for the experience much more than the effect. It's like it needs to be combined. So yeah, I think many different artists from many different areas, and I do love old style musicians and specific areas like jazz and things like that, because I think they had, let's say, Elvis Presley, right? Elvis Presley, for example, his music is great, but there's also so much more except for the like singing, like the dancing and the moving and the doing, right? And you realize a pattern, even if there's something you wouldn't do, but to learn how to take from that and from them in order to do stuff like that.
Yeah, you're taking bits and pieces from others, and you're formulating it into your own style, into your own creative way. That's fantastic.
Ushy, could I interrupt 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Did you ever try or think about trying out for America's Got Talent?
I've tried in the past, and I was also told to do it many times. And I hit a point at some point where I was like, I don't know if it's right to do it. I would do it, maybe I would, but I don't know that it's something like I'm.
You nervous? Is that too big of a crowd? Is that too big of a stage?
I could do any sort of crowd. It's just like,
what's the hesitancy?
I think it's more like I'm at a point where suddenly when you go to Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, you're competing with other people, which is totally fine to compete. And I'm not a competitive type of person, like naturally, but it's like, okay, they're going to perform, then I'm going to perform. Some of us are going to move forward. Some of us are going to move backward. For the exposure, maybe I'll do it, but
it's all about the
exposure. Know. It's like, I don't know. I just, it's like a feeling. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Is it fake? Is it not fake? Because there is a lot of like fake happening there as well, right? So like they make the crowd many times clap their hands. They make I don't know. Like it's tricky. Where I might in the future, maybe.
Have you ever been on a smaller talent show? You ever did any of those?
I've done a talent show in the past, but not like anything anyone would know.
I'm curious. It's another question we got from one of our listeners is, if you had nothing with you, right? Like no objects, no phones, no markers, what would be that thing that you would do? What would you...
What trick would he do?
Yeah, what trick would you do? What would that show be like?
So it depends. What do you mean no objects? Meaning
just words.
Could I tell someone?
Me and you.
Probably I could do stuff, and I could do stuff. It's just that the way you train yourself to do things with, for example, if I'll ask someone to stare at something or do stuff like that, it helps me with the way of reading them. So if they do nothing, where we're just...
Well, I could stare, but no objects. I could stare at anything in the room, but it's nothing.
Right. Yeah. So those things are things I could do, meaning no objects, no nothing.
Right.
And I do it a lot. Actually where
Can you do one now?
I just tell people, trying to think something that would be... those things specifically would be much more tricky with like, okay, I need you...
Were you asking an artist to paint with that as paintbrush? Why can't he have...
No, I'm asking if the artist...
No. I'll tell you why.
Totally
And I'll go into depth why, because I think many people, they say, okay, if he uses things in general, it means it's not real. And that's a thing that I totally understand, totally agree. It's just a different way and process in order to get to information when you do it. Meaning, when I ask you, let's say, to just think of a name, right? Or just think of something. For example, when I tell someone to think of a shape or something like that, then I'm tracking a certain way, like it's a reverse psychology of like how they think and what they think to make them not bounce off of like, I have one thing and now I'm bouncing off of like different pieces of information or things like that. So let's say if I ask someone to write something out, immediately I could tell you, okay, boom, I could get something really, really fast. If I don't, I could do it. It's going to be much longer process.
Right.
How long is your show typically? If you do a show for someone,
My show is an hour.
An
Usually
hour
my
long?
show is an hour long. Specific events, I'll do like an hour 15, an hour and
that
a
seems
half.
like a long time. You can
That
carry
is.
a show for an hour.
Yeah, an hour 20. That's like where I would find that you do a bit longer. That's it.
Yeah, you start losing people.
But let's say I when I have shows where people come especially for the show, like people would buy tickets or things like that, then it's actually okay. They'll come only for an hour. Would they come only for like usually a proper concert or a proper thing would be like an hour and a half, I think, or an hour 40 or whatever. I would recommend doing like an hour show or even less sometimes, but not because of the material as much as the audience just loses patience, no matter how interesting the show is, especially when it's not in a setting of like Broadway show or something like that, because when you're in a Broadway show, everything is like everything's dark. You only see the stage, right? But
Yeah.
if you
Let me ask
you
something
know.
a little personal, if I may.
Go for it.
And I'm like a little bit of a shallower person in general, so that's
Go
probably
for
where
it.
my mind's going here. Okay, so it's very nice to be talented, and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody, can have the claim that you do of you're in the streets and you're meeting people and you're making people happy. Like this is great, but let's talk real for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make some money out of this. We got to
Go for it.
monetize, and
I want to cut afterwards.
there's got to be a business at the end of the day. Does that motivate you? Like, what if I told you, Michael, what you're doing is amazing, it's fantastic, and you're going to travel all over the world, and you're going to perform for people, but you're never really going to make a big living out of this. You're never going to make a whole lot, and you're going to have a regular play. Are you still in it? Are you still like? Is this how far into this are you that you're willing to just make it all about this and never want more, or is there a goal here that if you don't reach, you're going to stop at a certain point and shift careers, so to speak?
So first of all, there's two things. There is, okay, I need to make a living, right? And then there is a totally different goal of just I love what I do. So like I'm so passionate about what I do that first of all I would never stop. Even if I wouldn't get paid, I'm sure I would keep doing it, even if I would have done anything else, which doesn't seem like I would anytime soon. But like I love what I do. And I do so much of what I do without getting paid, where I just the street stuff, for example, right? There is exposure and there is
Right.
stuff, but
That's
the
marketing.
amount of times I just went out with like some friends on Thursday night, went to like this bar, and I was just doing things, no cameras, no nothing, and I just see people. I love it. I do it. There's no like end result of like
Yeah. It's
there's
authentic.
like
It's authentic.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, and I'm sure I would keep doing it probably forever. If I'm able to, Bezrat Hashem.
What's the biggest paycheck you got?
I can't tell you.
Michael.
Right there.
Mind your own business.
Exactly. And you only get to use that once, by the way. So,
What in
that was it.
the
So the next time we ask you something like that, you're going to have to share.
We're going to have to wrap up soon. So first of all, do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I want you to think of a shape.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay?
wow, he went right
I told
there.
him to think of a shape, right? It's
not
like any
usually
question,
what-
any
Yeah,
question
yeah.
for us, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's a little different than
I
think of a shape.
said like there's many shapes. I told you, let's say think of a shape. So many people would go like they'll think, let's say I have a deck of shapes, right? So you'll go through a deck of shapes and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go with something that for sure I won't forget and I won't and I
Right.
will be able to remember, right? So naturally, when I say think of a shape, you immediately think of a shape, right?
Yeah.
So you have a shape in mind. Is there any way I could possibly know what you're thinking of?
No, but you're
I don't think
probably going to have it narrowed down to 3 or 4 shapes that most people will come up with. When a quick answer like that, you say either a circle, you'll say a square, a triangle. And
Right.
That's pretty much it. Right. So one
Thanks
of
for
those 3.
giving it away.
What?
I'm kidding.
No, I'm just
Is it one of those?
It's one of those, yeah.
Okay.
But
Of course it is.
This has
Isn't
nothing
it-
to do with what we did earlier in terms of picking a card. is
Michael,
it?
isn't that 90%
No, so
of
you
the time?
you could do those, for example, and then
Because before we started, you had a deck of cards with different shapes. You asked me to pick one, and I have one. That I've
you
been
have you
sitting
have one on you. I told
Yeah.
you to have one and
Yes.
not to show me, not even to give it to me.
Right. That's not.
Ready,
That's not what
ready.
you're asking me now, though, are you?
No, just a random shape
No, right now I'm thinking of what.
out of the blue.
Yeah.
That's gonna lead us
Oh,
into
okay, sure.
learning that, right?
Okay, yeah,
So
because
for
for
example,
those that don't know,
what did you think of? Did you think of like a triangle,
square.
a square?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say you're a naturally like a numbers person or more
No.
like an artist?
An artist.
An artist. Okay. Now, when I told you to actually pick a drawing, did you see other things that made you think, okay, I want to think of that drawing, or you immediately artist? Okay. Now, when I told you to actually pick a drawing,
Yeah,
I was
something
like,
else
oh,
took out, but then I ended up going with something else.
Okay, so now I do. So there is like an option of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Now I told you to stare at it, make sure remember everything about it, details or everything.
Yes.
Would you be able to draw that drawing again?
Yes.
Okay.
Unlike Joe Sutton, I can draw.
Okay.
If you remember, he drew the guitar. It looked
Okay,
like
okay.
something else.
So I'll do this. Could you take your hand, your right hand, for example, and could you draw a circle in the air? Okay, if you had to draw a triangle, could you go with a triangle? And last one, could you go with a square? Okay, let's try this. I'm gonna give you the pad like that, but before I'll do something here. Let's say I'll do that. Now I really want to stick to, I want you to stick to whatever it is you're thinking of. And interesting. I'm gonna do that. Now just to confuse you a little bit. And I'll give you the marker like that.
Okay.
I want to get the table dirty. I'll hand you
The biggest Sharpie I've
Biggest
ever seen
Sharpie.
in my life.
Where'd you get that?
Okay.
Now, have a drawing in mind. Could you draw it now? Interesting. Okay. You can literally go with anything, right?
Yeah.
Could you show us all what's the drawing?
It's the heart.
Really?
Oh. Whoa.
Put it down, because they don't see your face when you're like, wow.
Well, I'll show you the best part is from the deck of cards that you made me pick in the beginning.
There you go. You have a heart.
Wow. What's crazy is I saw the Star of David in that deck and I almost picked it. And you're like, you keep going. You want to keep going? And I'm like, yeah. And then I picked the heart without you seeing.
100%.
That's pretty amazing.
And you kept it by you. You didn't give me it back or anything.
No,
That way I could hold the break or
sweat on it.
something.
It's been by me the whole time. Yeah.
You could keep it. You can-
Wow. Thank you. Can you sign it for me?
We
Definitely.
also keep this gigantic Sharpie.
With
Where
a
did you buy
gigantic
this?
Sharpie.
Oh, what I'm gonna do with
because I
that.
learned that when I do podcast, if I use like a small Sharpie, there's like a reflection. So I'm like,
Oh,
if you use like a big one, it does a little bit more of an impression.
Michael,
Yeah.
this has been very eye-opening for us, and it was a pleasure getting to know you. And I'm looking forward to the big things that you're going to be doing. And to, I think the way we look at it is the big stage for you is the quality of the work that you're doing. That's the big stage.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
there's one thing we have to ask you before we let you go. And if you follow our podcast, you'll know we don't let you leave until we ask you to pick a guest that you think would be a good guest to fill your seat on the None of Your Business podcast. If you could think of anybody, who would that be and why?
How many seconds do I have? No.
You have as many seconds as you wish. But
Afterwards, we're gonna guess.
Fair
that's
enough.
good.
You could try.
Steph, I like. Okay, write down. You know what? Write down who you're gonna pick, and we'll guess.
Trying to think, who would I go with?
Someone that you know, someone that you met, someone. I actually peeked at your Instagram page earlier, and I saw you met a lot of interesting people throughout your days. Did I see Gary V in there?
And Gary V.
Oh my gosh.
Who's that?
You want to get him for us?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Can you get him?
I don't know that I could get him. It was very.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
It wasn't spontaneous.
Indirect.
We were called to his office, but it was in the way it worked. We
Yeah.
walked up to his office, and it was like, okay, you have this and this time to do this and this thing,
Wow.
and try that. And I spoke to the people in the waiting room, like not the waiting room, the people working for him had like a probably 300, 400 people working for him on that floor. And his personal assistant, she said, by the way, you should know if Gary goes to the bathroom for a bit too long, he's behind his schedule the whole day.
Wow.
Like his
so
time
busy.
is like that. So it was me and my friend David Carmi. He's the guy that does What Makes You Confidence on the street. He does like What Makes You Confidence, right? He's over 1.3 million followers or something like that. So we were both called as like street people that do a lot of things on the street. And we were asked if we would do something with him, and we did. And it was amazing. But according to how his day was, I don't think I would be able to help with bringing him here.
Oh, I see.
And there
I
wasn't
see.
much time for chit chat, I imagine. You basically
No, it
came
was
in,
like
you did your performance,
you can't even believe it. It was like
and it
there
was just him in the room that you did the performance
But-
for?
Yeah, it was me and him.
I'm laughing. You're lucky he didn't have oats for breakfast.
Who is this person? Who is this person?
Gary V.
Gary
is
Who's
V.
Gary
Gary
V?
Vaynerchuk. He's one of the
Ushy,
biggest.
everyone listening here knows who he is. He's
Gary V?
Gary V.
Yes.
Yes, he's on
What
LinkedIn.
does he do?
He's an influencer. He's a leader. He's a sales, mentor. He's amazing. So, who is the other influence?
Someone I would.
I'm just curious
I'd
who else you
recommend.
met besides him that's high up there. Is Gary V the top?
I just did this week. I met with whatever. I don't know if it's relevant. It's not relevant. She is a big model in Australia, for example.
Very relevant.
20 million followers on
Where is
Instagram.
she?
Wow.
Is she in Australia?
I met Adam Sandler.
Oh.
Really?
I met
Well,
many.
Can we start the podcast over, please? Can we go back to the beginning?
We'll need to have another podcast.
What's
eventually.
going on over here?
So, did you
Well,
actually get to know Adam Sandler, or you just met him again? Also,
So I
really,
met
like-
him a few times.
a few times.
few times.
And it took a while until he actually cared about. Meaning, not because he didn't care, but
Yeah.
he meets so many people a
Of
day.
course, of
where
course.
it's just like,
So, can you get Adam?
I wish I could.
Do you even have his number?
Yeah, sure, anyone.
Yeah.
No, but I'm trying to think. Let me think.
But what about the David guy that you mentioned? He seems like an interesting guy.
I could definitely try. Could definitely ask him if it'll be.
Is that
interested.
someone relevant that you think would be good on a?
I'm trying to think if he'll be interested.
Whoa!
I'm sure he will.
Lots.
But I think he's like he picks and chooses very, very carefully what he does and what he doesn't do.
Has he been on let's say a podcast similar to
Yeah,
ours?
he's done.
He's done.
I don't know. He's done podcasts in the
Yeah.
past. He's done TV. He's done
Yeah.
other things. Maybe let's give it a go.
Okay.
Let's do it right now. Let's do like this.
Yes, that's the way to do it. You call him. That's,
Ready? No, I'm not gonna call him. I'm not gonna call him because
What?
I'm not gonna pull him on the spot. But I'll send him a message.
No, no,
That's literally the whole point.
All right, one second.
is to put him on the
Before
spot.
you do this, you know how we spoke about earlier about how to mirror things and how to accomplish things, and take it from experience. If you message him, the chances are 50%. If you call him, the chances are 51%.
Well, I know, but I'm willing to take the risk.
You are willing, or you're not willing?
Yes, no, because I literally chat with him.
So you're willing
a
to
lot.
call him and take the risk, or are you willing
No,
to
but
message him? and
I
take the risk?
wouldn't. I wouldn't because first of all, I don't have.
You can do a video
internet.
message then, maybe, and we can say hello to him.
You want to do a
Why not?
video? Alrighty. Yes. What's up, David? We're here in the podcast, and these guys really want to have you on the podcast. So we're gonna hopefully we'll talk it out, and you'll actually come here to this podcast. It was really great. It was like
I could see into the future, and I can tell that you're going to be here one day.
definitely. So let's go. Hopefully you'll be here one day.
Michael, this was great. We really appreciate you coming down here on such short notice. It was amazing meeting you in Israel. I loved watching you live, doing your thing, being in your energy space, and just being here together was just really like eye-opening for us, learning about this entire world of magic and mentalism. And I can tell you enjoyed it.
I love it.
And you gained a follower here. I'm going to join your Instagram. I will subscribe. So it'll be 200,001.
Thank you to all our listeners, our subscribers, and thank you again to the Prime Source production team. We appreciate all the feedback. That's a wrap. Thank
That's
you
a wrap.
Thank you.
much. Michael, that was awesome.
Awesome, Michael.
Thank you so much.